Hey, what's going on, Dungeon Masters, Adventurer types, and heckin' good doggos alike? Today I'm going to be talking to you about a cool piece of D&D homebrew that I found online today, and the first ever homebrew review right here on the Dungeongeek. Today we're going to be taking a look at the HoundFolk Playable PC race, all credit due to user Not Jim Belushi from both Reddit and Tumblr. This is a really well put together PDF. Overall, I definitely would love to have this in my game, but a big disclaimer right here off the bat, every individual Dungeon Master for their current campaign that they're running or the collection of players that are at their table is going to have to use their own judgment to determine whether or not they want to allow this at their table. Some really good characters could be made using this build, or some really cringy characters that disrupt the flow of the game could be made with this build. It could go either way. I personally would trust certain players with this, maybe not others. It's a trust level that has to be built between the DM and the player behind the character. That's why I allow certain, like mystics or psychics in some of my games if I know that the characters aren't going to be overpowered. And how many games do you see online that, won't allow you to play a master summoner at their Pathfinder table? It's just one of those things. So use your own best judgment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDF. The first page of this PDF has got some interesting flavor text, and it's got some real basic canon that allows you to wrap your head around how this type of race may fit into your game world. I am a dog person. I have had a lot of dogs over my life, and I get really excited thinking about the characters that could be made using this particular player race, because all of the individual personalities that my dogs have had over the years, just using the nature of one of your own personal pets, you're going to be able to draw inspiration and create a really good role-playable character. Another great part of the background here in the canon within the PDF is on the second page when he starts talking about the clans of dogs. These are like wandering packs of nomadic tribes of dogs that wander all over the place, kind of like gypsies. And I mean, this is mirrored in real life as packs travel, the wilderness, as wild dogs do. One of the great things about this is it allows player characters to really kind of slip into an adventuring party very easily without a very complicated background. So realistically, this is a great race for experienced game players who are really good at coming up with detailed backgrounds, as well as inexperienced game players that kind of just be like, yeah, well, I just want to be an adventurer because I want to leave home. HoundFolk names, these names can really be anything at all, and it really opens itself up to a whole world of possibilities that wouldn't necessarily be as appropriate for like a humanoid type character like a human or an elf. Getting into the HoundFolk traits here, I'm going to have to say that I personally think that Not Jim Belushi did a really good job of following the DMG rules on figuring out what creates a balanced humanoid race. They are going to get a +2 bonus to charisma. All of the subtypes get this bonus, so the HoundFolk really do lend themselves to be good face characters, also bards, sorcerers, or anyone else that does deal with charisma specifically. And additionally, they are going to be a range of sizes because of the different subtypes. I think this is a really cool thing that Not Jim Belushi has done. There are small, medium, and large dogos, and you're going to be able to create a whole party if you wanted to, and each one of them is going to be able to be considerably different. So you could have a whole campaign built around a pack of dogs. Their speed, of course, is normal 30. They do have dark vision. They tend to align themselves towards good or neutral alignments. They have a bravery ability, which allows them to get advantage against the frightened condition. They also get a really kind of insubstantial bite attack, but it's necessary because they're dogs, for fuck's sake. And they also are able to speak Sylvan. Sylvan, I believe, was probably just selected because there is not a real dog language or a hound language in D&D 5e. As a dungeon master, I probably would say that they don't get Sylvan right off the bat, and instead they get their own spoken language. I imagine it would be something to do with, growls and barks and kind of like visual posturing as dogs tend to do. But I understand why he selected Sylvan. He needed to pick something. So as per the subtypes, there are 3 specific ones given here in the guide. Personally, I would allow my players to go and select any kind of real dog in the real world and kind of mirror what their build is based upon these 3 trait breakdowns. So it wouldn't necessarily have to look like a bulldog or a husky or a foxhound. But the foxhounds are the smallest. They're going to be like the closest to gnomes and halflings in stature, and they are naturally stealthy, so they are kind of getting the lightfoot halfling ability to hide behind creatures that are one size larger than them, which is kind of a cool thief ability to have. They also get the survival skill right off the bat, and they get a bonus to their dexterity saving throws. The bulls are the big, kind of like strong, macho ones, very similar to the lizard folk in Volo's Guide to Monsters. They are going to get an armor bonus if they are unarmored. It's 12 rather than the lizard folk's 13, and a lot of like fighting type dogs or guard dogs have, thick folds around their necks that allow them to, not have damage done to them whenever they're, tussling with other animals. They also get a bonus to their Constitution modifier, and they're just giant. Hey, and they also have a profound resilience to poison, so they get advantage against poison rolls, and they get half damage from poison. So obviously the bull subrace here is going to lend itself to make really excellent monks, really excellent barbarians, but also, in my opinion, casters. Specifically like sorcerers or charisma casters, having the ability to have an unarmored AC of 14 or 15 right off the bat is amazing. Just to have this giant sorcerer dog, and then you could probably have fun with the bloodline abilities there too if you and your DM could customize something for that. So the final subtype here is Huskimo, and in real life my brother has huskies, and I've been around huskies, and they are headstrong and stubborn and maybe a little bit daft. In my opinion, the ones that I've come across. And so as they're described here in the PDF, they're very wise and they're leaders. And I mean, I get that. Play the dog however you want to play the dog. I wouldn't say you necessarily have to stick to the descriptions. The mechanical aspects here of the trait breakdowns are the most important thing. But the Huskimos, they are kind of the middle sized of the three different types that are described here on the PDF. They get a wisdom score bonus, they get resistance to cold damage, and they are also able to cast sort of the Ray of Frost cantrip. So I would encourage you, if you were wanting to play one of these and you didn't want to be a husky, but instead you wanted to be maybe like a Rhodesian Ridgeback style leader, I would talk to the DM and I would show him, well, maybe I don't have resistance to cold, maybe instead I have resistance to heat, and maybe instead of Ray of Frost it's like Firebolt or some other cantrip there. There's some leeway to the ability to swap and communicate with your dungeon master. Most of the time, if you're cool about it, they typically will be okay, as long as you're kind of swapping one-to-one and you're not swapping up or swapping down. You know what, why not have that conversation? So overall, my impressions of this PDF, there are really just amazing opportunities to use this thing in a game and have a wonderful dog character at the table, as long as it's not kind of cringy and annoying, and he's doing things that other players are uncomfortable with. Sometimes whenever you get to play animal races, the people that want to play the race, they may be doing so because they want to experiment with role-playing possibilities that other players at the table are uncomfortable with, and so that's a discussion that you need to have with your players there, kind of one-on-one, and really assess what is this character about. Does it fit your table? Does it fit your campaign? But overall, I love this PDF. Good on you there at Not Jim Belushi. Go ahead and download this below. Go ahead and check out the links to the original stuff on Tumblr that I found. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the first homebrew review. For more videos like this, please like the like thing. If you want to see something in particular reviewed, go ahead and send me a link below and I'll check it out and maybe I'll make a video about it. So let's talk again next time. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Dungeon Geek.